down one?
Eyes up, a little hold, 1, 2, good.
Gabriel.
Good.
Good morning. It is Saturday, and I am happy to be alive. I hope you are too. I am sort of racing, or about to race, up to the fairgrounds to watch one of my friends ride. She's supposed to ride in a half hour, and it's going to take me a half hour to get there. So I definitely budgeted time poorly, and I feel bad. I've been listening to Greta Van Fleet, and wow, really, really good. It's one of those things, like somebody tells you about them and you listen to them and you're like, how the hell didn't I know about this before? God, they're so good. And what I'm pissed about is they were here like a week and a half ago, and I could have seen them in person, and I didn't. Oh well. I like live shows. They seem like they'd be a really fantastic live show, and they also played a small venue, so that would have been cool to see them. See like a proper sounding rock show in a small venue, that's amazing. I ordered one of their albums on vinyl this morning. It's overcast now and threatening rain, so hopefully that doesn't happen. I didn't bring a raincoat because it's San Diego and you just don't bring raincoats places. You know, anytime I've lived anywhere else, you'd be like, oh, it might rain, I should bring a raincoat. Not here. So if it rains, I'm screwed, but it's okay. Sorry, anytime I fade out from talking to you, it's because of the unpredictability of homeless people. And then I want to report back like what I'm seeing, but in a way it seems like that might sound rude, but it's just facts. Like what just happened before, this homeless guy who was eating something out of a bag had the bag up, like smushed in his face, and he was just kind of walking across intersections and streets regardless of what the traffic was doing, and you're sort of like, are you gonna stop? Are you gonna go? Like, yeah, there's this sort of like odd brazenness of just like, whatever, the cars will stop or not, and it's weird and a little scary. We have a lot of that here, and I see more of it in my new house than my old house, which I think will become an interesting change in perspective. I felt safer in my old neighborhood, considerably. Like at night, I felt safer. Like typically when you're out walking the dog at night, you saw other people walking their dogs and you felt like safe. And in my new house, when I take the dog out at night, I see some dog people, but I also see a lot of homeless people around. And depending on the hour, as a whole, they seem to move at different speeds. You know, at some hour they're like bedded down for the night, but sometimes they're wandering or picking through things, and it feels a little bit like a zombie movie, just in terms of like posture and movement and erraticness. It's, I don't know, I had a friend years ago who lived in San Francisco who described it like that she would be on the BART if she felt like maybe there were zombies around her, and I was like, oh, that's really funny, and she's like, yeah, it is funny, but it's a little true, and I see it now. It's just, you have to have different senses about you, just in terms of distance from people and your ability to escape and your safety. And if I was in my old life, like if I was married and my wife was going to be taking the dog out at night, I definitely wouldn't be comfortable with her going alone. That's sort of my metric of the level of safety right now. This is boring.
And the horses take like one stride there, and the pony takes like 3.
Good job, Danielle. So fast.
I did not process that.
Weird day. The show was fun. I liked seeing my friends ride, but as the day wore on, I don't know. I got cold and kind of tired and didn't feel fun anymore. It's a strange thing. I'm a little unsure what to do with the pressure I feel from like my barn friends. Just like they'd be like, oh, can you drive me home? When are you gonna go? When are you gonna go home? Can you drive me home? And it's just sort of like, it takes my freedom away. If I want to meet up with people, or if I want to be open to possibilities at the barn, then committing to driving somebody home removes that. That I'm not free to come and go as I want because I have to drive somebody home at a certain time. And these are good good problems to have, good things to juggle, but it just makes me feel weird. Like, I don't know if I'm appreciated or used. And of course, none of this will go on the video, but I'm not sure what my value is. And I think I'm probably just tired, maybe a little cranky, because these are people that like me and make me, like, was it 2 nights ago that, I was so happy and felt so liked and whole. Like, I like that. It's just a funny line. I don't like feeling bad if I tell somebody no. And I think that's what it is. Like, can you drive me home? No, I can't, because maybe something. And then sort of like grumpy treatment. I mean, it was good today. I like being there and supporting people, but like, I'm not coming away right now being like, that was the most fun thing ever. It wasn't. The food was good, and it was sort of fun, but... Hi. Good evening, you guys. I am headed home. And it's been a mix of a day. Oh, hold on. Somebody I want to hear from. Hold on, I'll be back. Okay, I feel better now. I was headed home, and the sky was pretty, and I just felt... I don't know, when you get a little desperate, a little lonely. I think that was happening. I was at the barn, I hung out, and I was hanging out with horses, and it's really nice and centering. And I was also hoping that maybe a certain somebody would show up, but enough time passed where I thought, she's probably not showing up tonight. And then I started to feel a little pathetic for hanging out for the maybe that she would show up. So I left. But then as I was driving, I was like, you're not pathetic. Like, I'm wrestling with those feelings of feeling pathetic. There's nothing wrong with waiting around to see if somebody will show up when they usually show up around that time. So I just texted her and I was like, hey, are you riding tomorrow? And she said yes. And I was like, oh, awesome. And then I talked about how I'd just been playing with her horse, and she was happy about that. It just led to a little bit of conversation with her, and that's perfect. That connection with somebody that's kind of the thing right now. That's what I crave, to feel interconnected with people. I like being around her. If I can feel little connections with her in ways that are honest and respectful. So I just like to have these like little connections with people. It feels good, it feels appropriate. I'm happy about that. My feelings lately are more nuanced. I talked to you a little about this, and I talked about this in therapy a bit. When I first heard she was leaving, I was sad and had this sort of fear of like, we started this life here together, and she's gonna leave, and I'm gonna feel left behind. And then as time went on, and she didn't change her mind, and she didn't come back, and things just got worse and worse. I was very excited that she was leaving, and I'm still very happy that she's gone. But conceptually knowing she's leaving and then living the experience of her leaving, there is a little bit of pain. There's a little bit of loss. There's definitely sort of like a dialectic going on, I guess. I'm really glad she's gone, but I'm also sad she's gone. And those things, they do coexist within me. She's become a very unattractive person to me, but I still miss her. I don't want to have chance encounters with her around town, but I miss seeing her. And these are things that are hard to talk about with casual acquaintances because you seem crazy. If somebody's not terribly invested in your story, they're like, well, you can't have it both ways. And it's like, well, I don't want it both ways. Those are just coexisting circumstances in my head. Both of those things are true. It's like Schrodinger's cat in a way. I don't want to see her, but I miss her. It's both things simultaneously. It is how I feel. And I'm assuming that in time, one will become stronger than the other, and one will sort of fade away. I'm hoping that as part of the healing process that happens. But currently, that's where it's at. Since she's left, which will be a week ago tomorrow, I haven't thought about her as much as I thought I would. I feel the fact that she's left, but I'm not continually wondering, like, what's she doing? Is she okay? What's her house like? Are they moved in? Like, the logistics of the horses I think about, but I don't actually wonder too much about her. And maybe that's just practice. Maybe because I've had 7 months to practice. We've lived apart for 7 months. So weird to say out loud. So the fact that we're living apart and now she's in a different city, it's not really any different. We're still living apart. So that feeling of loss it's a little more ephemeral. It's like a conceptual feeling of loss. But I guess that's part of this process. It's just being honest with yourself. That is how I feel right now. And there are certain people that if I were to tell them that on the phone, certain people that have been on my side the whole time, but if I were to tell them that, they wouldn't be sympathetic to the situation. They would tell me that, in not so many words, that I'm weak, that I should be stronger, that she's been terrible, that I shouldn't feel that way. And I think the beauty of having a therapist is that it's somebody that gives you advice based on your situation and that helps you through your situation. And my therapist is helping me to be very honest. And I'm trying to be very honest with you, and that's what it is. This has been a terrible process. That's the negative. The positive is I miss what my life used to be. And then things kind of fall under those two categories. I'm still processing the loss of my old life, which will take a long time because I was very happy. And I'm still going through divorce, which is cold and technical, and the person I'm divorcing isn't the love of my life, it's this new person who's horrible. And in a way that makes it easier because I don't feel like I'm divorcing my wife so much as I'm separating from a terrible person that I'm tethered to. I'm handcuffed to something bad, and getting free from the handcuffs is just a technical, expensive, laborious process. I've never put it into words that way. Thank you. Thanks for helping me get to that. But at least in my situation, this blindsiding situation, it does feel like two things. The death of my wife, who, to all intents and purposes, died in February when she left for that trip to Amsterdam. As far as I'm concerned, she died. I have not seen her again. She disappeared. So she's gone missing. However you want to frame it, the loving part of my marriage died then. Part of this has been mourning that loss while at the same time dealing with an enemy that has access to all of my emotions. Dealing with an adversary who really, really knows how to hurt me, who knows more about me than anyone, who knows how to hurt me worse than anyone, who also could be nicer to me than anyone, but hasn't been, has not been. That's two heavy things to balance, or two different things to deal with at the same time. It's maddening, but it's getting better. Hopefully we can wrap up the divorce process soon. I was just thinking back to the conversation we had after our second therapy session where she explained to me she can't deal with the emotional side of our breakup until after the whole divorce process is done. After she's not afraid that I'll go after her money. After she's not terrified that I'll go after her. Then we can deal with the emotional side of it. I didn't believe it then, and now as months have passed, it's almost laughable. It's like, come on, did you honestly believe that? It doesn't work like that. 11 months down the line, we can process the divorce and why I separated from you. No. By that time, I'm done. If you can't be decent until the love of your life is completely legally cut out of your life, don't bother trying to be decent later. Like, that's just crap. I'm just about to the condo to get the keys. It's weird. I don't really want to go in there tonight. That is just a reminder of the past. Time to be an adult, I guess. Thank you for this. I didn't think I had a whole lot to talk about in this car ride, and just by continually talking to you and you continually listening, I feel like I've made some sense of things. And it's probably things I thought about before, but I didn't put the right words to, and you helped me. So thank you. It's always interesting. It's been 21 minutes since I've left the barn. So I've been talking to you for 21 minutes. And by the time I edit this down, I'll probably have talked to you for a minute, maybe 2 minutes from this car ride. But the belief that someday you might hear from me is helpful enough to just let me be expressive and make sense of this. So thank you. A lot. I'm gonna go get some keys, and I will see you later. Really, thank you.